we've got to correct, some of the mistakes that's allowing some yardage, and the one thing that that I wasn't happy with. There's a lot of things, but the one thing that I wasn't happy with was one of the bigger plays that broke on the run. That was the first time all year we didn't pursue like we had to from the back end, and that was something we talked about that they've been doing a good job of so far, and we've got to continue to make sure that we corral that football and make that ball be inside, But it was a great win for the program.
Had you seen flashes from Hawthorne that gave you an idea that you might be able to do that?
Yeah, oh yeah. He showed some things in the spring. He showed some things in the fall, and then he sprained that ankle, and been gimped. And the one thing I was impressed with him is even when the ankle was not good earlier, he came out and practiced hard and limped and tried to do everything he could. And he shows he's a tough kid. And I was happy for some of the things he did, and it really helped us.
Are you disappointed that you're having to blitz this much because you're not getting pressure from your front four alone?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you'd say I'm disappointed. I'm, we'll always blitz and we'll always pressure. You'd like to make sure we can get pressure from a four-man rush, at a more of a regular basis, and to be able to do both, then you really have it, and that's something we've addressed, and that's something we're working on, right now.
How much have turnovers kind of bailed you out, so to speak, and made the defense maybe performance look a little better than it was?
Yeah, no question. I think our ability to get those turnovers, anytime when this was a really good offense. Make no mistake about it. This is a very, very good offense that we played against. There's a great deal of experience in the offensive line. We won't face a better wide receiver than Floyd. The tight end, in my opinion, is a big-time football player. Their offensive line, is all older. And that did help us a great deal to be able to. But it's a mindset that we've tried to build that, no matter if teams are moving the football on you, if you have a place to stand, as long as you have a place to stand and the ball's not in the end zone, something good can happen. And and our guys have the other thing, when you're getting turnovers, some people say, was it lucky? I think when you get turnovers, that means they're around the football. We've all seen times before where the ball's laying on the ground and there's nobody there to get it, and it just we've got to keep doing that. That's something that we've got to keep doing it until we get better at our fundamentals and until we get more seasoned.
Notre Dame's last touchdown, was that a communication breakdown a little bit? Or
no, it wasn't. We didn't execute it exactly like we wanted to, and I'll be dead honest with you. There's sometimes calls that a guy makes that you say afterwards, God, I wish I wouldn't have made that call. That was the same call that we got the interception on earlier in the game. And what it was is it looks exactly like the blitz. And we had blitzed right before that, and they knew we were going to blitz the closer they got down there. And so I just thought to myself, you know what, maybe we can do the same thing, show that blitz and come out of there. And we didn't execute it as well as we did the first time, and they hit it. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not always 100%. And if it was all over again, I probably wouldn't have called that.
When you're much more is disguising your coverage in college helpful than maybe it is even in the pros? Do you see even more of an advantage on this level?
Yeah, the thing about disguising, you've got to be pretty experienced. A lot of times out there you're just saying, guys, make sure you're in the right place, and disguising is the next phase, and the first thing we have to do is make sure that we don't bust on coverages, and that make sure we're in a position to make the plays that we can make. And then from that point, as they get more seasoned and as they get better, then you can say, okay, now you got that down, now let's make it look like this and go to this. But we haven't been able to disguise as much as you'd like to, and we'll get there.
As far as linebackers go, how many of them right now do you feel comfortable with, and maybe how much has that number grown since?
Well, I feel comfortable with anybody that's out on that football field. You know, anybody that practices and goes through what they go through. We feel anybody's on that football field for Michigan, I feel comfortable with, because that means they're the best. And so we just got to keep trying to get them healthy, trying to make sure they're 100%, making sure they keep improving. You got a number of linebackers there that haven't played a lot of football, you know, and you get thrown in a ball game like that. For them to make some of the plays they made, I was proud of them. You know, now there's always mistakes, and the one thing I've said all along that I'm so proud of this defense about is they come in every day after the game's over trying to correct those mistakes. And I hope there's some day when we don't have to correct mistakes, you know, but that's what we're working on right now.
There were a couple longer runs where Mike Martin had dropped back into coverage. How do you shore up the middle of the field to make sure that they don't break that?
Well, with that, the same blitzes that hit the quarterback from Western, they obviously saw that and didn't want that pressure to come at them. So what they did is check to a run whenever they saw that look. And we have defenses that look exactly the same that are run defenses, and it's the same thing. I called the pressure thinking it was pass, and in the back of my mind I'm thinking, you know, I should have called the pressure for the run because maybe they're going to do that. And sure enough, they did do it. And then on the next one, I think they ran it on 3rd and 7, you know, and if a team's going to run it on 3rd and 7, you know, you aren't going to ever pressure if you're worried about it, you know. And some of those, when they're overloads from both sides, you know, they aren't great run defenses. You know, the one thing we have to do is when we hear a team check, you know, not maybe drop out as fast, but now all of a sudden if the guy doesn't drop out as fast and they hit the pass, I'm going to say, why didn't you drop out as fast? You know, so that's the thing that happens a lot of times, or sometimes, when you are pressuring.
What do you see from Martin when he does drop back in practice?
Oh, he's a very good athlete. He's a very intelligent football player, and that's what it takes. You know, a big guy like that showing that he's a defensive lineman and then dropping out can cause problems. And but you can only do that if a guy's an athlete enough to do it. You know, I don't want to do it too much because you know he's a great run player, and you know all of a sudden he's dropping out and they're running a football all day on you. That's not very smart. You know.
What did you see out of Will Campbell, and does he earn a bigger opportunity this week because of what he did in limited time on Saturday?
I thought that when he went in, he gave us a spark. I thought he played with a lot of passion. You know, and like I've said all along, that's a big body that can move. And again, everybody buys in and everybody steps up to the way we want it at different times and at different levels. And he's one, I think, that when he was out there, he said, okay, I'm going to do it the way they want it done. And, you know, I do believe he'll probably get more playing time. You know, we're rotating anyhow, you know, and but I do think that he's earned by what he showed right there. The biggest thing these guys have to do is earn it by how they practice. You know, the game is the reward for how you practice. And so they've got to continue to practice hard and then go out there and, you know, that'll be the reward.
Greg, how much has your linebacker rotation been changed by essentially the amount of injuries you've had?
You know, I think we felt that there's a number of them that are all fairly equal, you know, and so that's the good news, you know, that if a guy for someone gets, you know, gimped up for some reason, whatever happens, then the next guy's got to be ready to go. That's always the way it'll be here. You know, I mean, we'll never say, you know, this happened because of an injury. You know, I mean, you can't do that. The guy who's the next guy to go in has got to live up to that standard and play up to that standard.
Does a healthy Cam Gordon allow you to do some different things with the linebackers? Maybe put him in coverage, or?
Yeah, I mean, he's an ex-safety and he's a very good athlete. But all those backers. You know, I think, you know, most of them are pretty good athletes and can cover. You know, I think, I don't think we ever think that, well, Cam's not in there, we can't run this defense.
When Will Campbell, when he plays like he does and he's next to Mike Martin, does that give your defensive line its best potential on the field?
I mean, I think, I don't know if it gives you your best potential. You know, anybody that plays up to their ability gives you your best potential, you know, and I think he's very talented, and if he comes in and plays hard at 6'5", 300 and some pounds, you've got to feel pretty good about it. So I'm looking forward to him improving each week and getting better and getting more playing time.
What have you seen from Craig Rowe in the last 2 games? He hasn't really shown up on the box score much.
Craig played much better. Craig played much better in this game than he did the first game. And, I think Craig's another guy that all of a sudden he sees that the bar is higher than maybe he expected it to be. And so, what he thinks sometimes, and this is for everybody, not just Craig, what they think is acceptable is not. And he's bought in. He's going to be an outstanding football player. I've got all the confidence in the world. And just to see the way he's practicing since that first game and then played better in this game, I look forward to him playing much better again this game.
Coach, in both the Western and the Notre Dame games, the opposing offenses seemed to move the ball very efficiently for the first couple drives, but then the defense figured them out kind of and stopped them. What kind of goes into that? Is it you just kind of figuring out their play calling, or is it the players kind of settling in?
Maybe I better do a better job with a pep talk. I don't. I looked at that, and I don't know if it's us adjusting. I think every game you have to adjust. I think that's part of coaching, and that's part of the players really understanding our whole package, that there were some different things. That's why I've always talked about bullets, that if something isn't working, you've got to have something else to go to. And we were fortunate enough to call a couple other defenses, and the kids executed very well and got some big plays off of them. And, I don't know if that's adjustments. That's maybe just the way defense is, that if you have enough in there, don't stay out there and let yourself continue to not do well. Change it up. Do something until you find that mix. And, luckily our players kept playing. A real credit to them. They believed all the way, and they played all the way. And, that's why we're going to be good. That's why, our defense is going to be a Michigan defense. And we're not there yet, by any means. But as long as those players keep doing that, then we're going to be fine.
Just a couple more.
Greg, how much of what you wanted to get in and install did you actually get in, and do you put any more in now, or is it just wrinkles maybe until the bye? Or?
No, we'll always put in different things each week. We'll never go into the game with the same game plan. And usually it means pressures. I don't think you can say we're going to put this is our package in the spring, and then it's the same thing you run throughout the whole year. I don't think you do that. And so we'll always tweak things. We'll always add some things. We'll take some things out. We kind of have a number that I kind of look up on the board and say, okay, this is the amount of defenses we got to have in this game. No more, because you can't get enough practice time on them. And I kind of look at how many times I can call a defense in practice to decide whether I can call it in a game, because you don't want to put a defense out there that they aren't prepared with.
Does that number change per week, or does that?
No, it's usually pretty much a set number, and it all goes by what they can handle. But, I don't know what you'd say the number is, but I know when I look at that board, if I see too many defenses on that ready list, I'll be taking them down by tonight or tomorrow, saying, no, we can't. This is too much. I'd like to do it. We'd all like to do it, but it isn't going to get called. Or if you do call it, you're hoping it's run right, and that's not fair to the kids.
How much can they handle at this point, would you say?
I think they've done very well at picking up the system. Much, much better than the spring. One, because they've really bought in. They're become very much students of the game, more than I think they've ever been. And they're starting to communicate. That's been a real negative, and again, when you have a lot of young kids and a lot of guys that haven't played much, they're kind of just taking care of themselves. Well, they're really starting to communicate, and until you communicate on defense, you won't be as successful as you should be, because you've got to make sure everybody's on the same page. And I think they've really improved on that.
Brady said that he wanted to see Marvin Robinson after week 1 communicate better. How did he do last week in that regard, and how's he doing so far overall?
Yeah, he's doing better. He's got to do much better on the communication part of it. But again, Marvin and a lot of guys it's them feeling really comfortable. You know, a lot of these guys are playing positions they never played before, and in a game like this last one, you know, and all of a sudden they're thinking, oh, I got to just do my job. Well, it's important that when you see something that you tell your buddy, you know, and take care of the whole group, and that's something we've really tried to install in the group, and they'll get better and better each week.
Are you hesitant to play Troy Woolfolk because of the cast? Does that affect you?
No. In fact, after watching the film, Troy Woolfolk played, I mean, unbelievable for a guy with one hand. I mean, he made one tackle with one hand right there that might have broke, and I was proud of him. I mean, he's a Michigan man, and he came up before the game and said, Coach, you can count on me. I'll go. You know, and I think there's a lot of programs where people, seniors and all that kind of thing, might have said, oh, I can't go. You know, not him. You know, and I'm proud of him for him doing that.